Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Muti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sarvavedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. We have seen we are at verse 09 now, and we are looking at the Bahiranga Sadhana, yeah, which is the general disciplines to prepare the mind for Vipassana, as we know. So these general disciplines are better described by Karma Yoga, observance of Dharma and understanding of the relationship between with Jiva, with Ishvara and Jagata. Yeah? So we need to observe certain general disciplines with lifestyle, and so on, to keep a stable and mind, equanimous, samathivan state, so that we can do Upasana later on, as we have determined. If the mind goes through a very wild kind of day, and then when we try to do Upasana, the mind has deep disturbing impressions that are going to prevent our Upasana. Our Upasana, as we know, is referring to meditation on the nature of Saguna Brahman, and the meditation on the nature of Nirguna Brahman is referred as Nididhyasana, which is altogether a different kind of sadhana. Nididhyasana, the object of meditation is the most subtle, and we're going to meditate on the scriptural declarations of identity between Jivatma and Paramatma. And so we have seen all of that. And then among all these general disciplines to prepare the mind, the Swami or Lord Krishna emphasized self-confidence. So we need to have discipline, determination, and self-confidence, without which the grace of Ishvara is going to be powerless or impotent, So I should have my own grace, and my grace is in the form of confidence into myself. Very beautifully put, as always, So Ishvara is going to grace us to the extent that we grace ourselves. How so? With self-confidence. We all appreciate the role of God's grace, but without self-effort, growth, God's grace is not going to work. Self-effort can never be replaced by God's grace. Self-effort is in addition to God's grace, and therefore Krishna emphasized self-effort as well. Okay. Krishna talked about self-integration as well, which is very beautiful and very important. In which the various aspects of our human nature, let's say, have to be not only purified but harmonized with one another. So it's called integration of different aspects of our human nature: the psychological, the intellectual, the mental, the emotional. All of these things need to be somehow in harmony or in tune, so that we have a health, body, mind, sense complex. Okay. After that, Krishna talked a little bit about the benefit of gaining self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is good to the extent that it somehow changes my personality, my human personality, my human perspective of the world and of myself as the body-mind. It's a change of perspective. The world is no longer capable of deceiving and binding me to itself, to the world. Maya does so that the world has an intrinsic capacity to bind people, you know, as if the world has imprisoned me, tormented me, you know, disturbed me. So Vedanta says that for as long as we identify with the body and the mind, we're going to be trapped in the world, you know, what we call in the samsara chakra. So therefore, Krishna here presents it as Sarvatra Sama Darshanam, because we need to see the world as value neutral, everything, all the object, the intrinsic samatva nature of the entire projection, we call mithya projection, the world, the creation, manifestation, as samatva nature. What it means to say everything is just the elements. So, and they are value neutral. This is a very important understanding that we unconsciously, collectively, we keep attributing intrinsic value to objects, which are fundamentally value neutral because they are just the elements. It's just matter, and the objects which are sentient, or the animate and the sentient objects, living creatures, they are fundamentally the same as well, although they may have different features to itself. The nature of everything is just matter and energy. Yeah. And then when we look into the nature of the objects which are not inert, meaning to say the jivas, and more specifically the jiva, the human jivas, and then we get into a little bit more complication where it becomes more difficult to see that everything is just the elements, because every body-mind complex has a different feature and attributes and capacities and qualities and properties and attributes. So we look at people and then we say, you know, how can I see a good guy the same way I see the evil guy? You know, this is a big challenge, isn't it, Mark?
It's very difficult when there's so much evil going on in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to be able to purify and refine to the extent that we see that everything is gold. All ornaments are just superimposition. The entire physical manifestation is just the elements appearing as inert and sentient beings. Yeah? So fundamentally, all boils down to the 5 elements, the gunas, and then Ishvara. We can resolve everything in Ishvara, Sattva Guna. And then furthermore, we resolve everything in consciousness, meaning to say, I resolve everything in myself, in my true nature as Satchitananda. No? As long as I keep my vision focused on Nama Rupa alone, I will be trapped. I will see plurality, diversity. But if I bring my focus to the substratum of all of this, the substance behind everything, meaning to say conscious existence, and then I'm safe. I'm no longer overreacting to the power of Maya to deceive people by superimpose Namarupas upon that which is my very self, my very consciousness. Similarly, Yani has learned how to see through the Namarupas of the entire creation, and therefore everywhere he sees Brahman, he sees the self, he sees himself, herself. This is the idea that we have seen already before, and it is a radical idea presented by Vedanta and the Upanishads of to define or characterize the yoni, which is it's very beautiful, but I would say that it's very challenging because we have our human nature playing, uh, together with our divine nature, let's say, and we have lived under the spell of ignorance. We have come from the mineral and the vegetable reign in which the jungle, the law of the jungle was playing. And now we have this human intellect. We have some aspects of our divinity manifest. That's why we can experience love, compassion, empathy, and so on. But we have some of those animal instincts still challenging. The yan is the one who is has developed more. I like to put in those terms, develop more the one's his or her human nature, and has got a certain immunization or capacity to not to fall for one's animal nature with in regards to certain human reactions or response to what's happening in our day-to-day environment. So we need to see through the Namarupas of gold and see only gold, 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 and gold. It's quite a challenge because, the infinite Namarupas project in the subtle dimensions and in the physical material, as it appears to us, human beings. They are infinite in number. They are numberless. And they are all structured around the opposite pairs or pairs of opposites, And so we see the good and the evil side by side. And we need to learn something which is the greatest challenge of human nature. It's we are talking about it's a tremendous inner transformation, a tremendous inner purification. This is achieved by self-knowledge alone, unshaken self-knowledge. And furthermore, this self-knowledge has to be internalized to the extent that it further purifies until one becomes almost like saint-like, saint-like, no? Like a saint, in the good term of the word. The verse 9 says, he whose mind is the same with regards to well-wishers, friends, and enemies, is equanimous, neutral, mediators as well. I mean, he talks about the mediator, hateful ones, relations, the righteous. It's very beautiful, this verse. Let's see what Swami unfolds here for us as well. He whose mind is the same in regard to well-wishers, friends, enemies, neutrals, meditators, hateful ones, relations, and righteous, and even the unrighteous, this person excels or went beyond its animal nature. In the previous verse, Lord Krishna said that this wise man has got samatvan with regard to inanimate things. So, oh yeah, no, it's okay. I don't care which model my car is. No, I have samatvan. That is a very cheap samatvan, I would say, But how about other sorts of samatva, such as samatva in regards to my friend and my enemy? That is radical example. So in the case of other living beings, other living creatures, the yoni is supposed to have samatva. And equanimity with regards to living beings is extremely more difficult. And especially with regard to the human living beings, because cats and dogs are living creatures as well. And there are classes of living creatures. It's very difficult to have samatva when you relate to mosquitoes, and as opposed to beautiful birds. Mosquitoes, you're going to try to smash and kill them. And so human nature, and it's difficult to have samatva in respect to other human jivas as well. Lot difficult. We build expectations in regards to other people. If we get close to someone, we easily tend to develop either attraction or aversions, raga and dveshas, and something or other. Therefore, here Krishna says that Yoni has overcome all of these. So it's much easier to overcome if you go to the forest or go to the ashram and become a formal sannyas, because then at least there you will be the least challenged, because you are now being much exposed to so many other objects of experience. He gives a wide range of human beings. In the previous chapter, Krishna talked about wide range of living beings, elephants, dogs, and everything. And he talked even about the Brahmin in the previous chapters, that he is equanimous in regards to the dog and the dog eater, which is, so he's referring to other jivas. Different living beings were taken in the chapter 5. Here in the 6th chapter, among human beings themselves, how many varieties there. He gives a list of human beings. In this verse, he gives different examples of human beings, as we read. Friends, enemies, sympathizers, well-wishers, people who do not know me and they are just indifferent, people who are spiritual, people who are full of hate, our family members, relationships, and the righteous, the dharmic, and the adharmic. There are so many varieties of attributes of human beings. And Lord Krishna said that Yoni is supposed to overcome all of these differences. Those good people who are well-wishers of everyone, by his or her own nature, he's the well-wisher of everyone. So the Yoni is the one that should wish the best to everyone, and wish the best even for one's enemies. Whosoever evil is presenting, evil people is just there, so dominant in our societies nowadays. So the Yoni is supposed to see them as just living gods, living Yonis, under the spell of solid, enormous ignorance of the true nature, therefore doing horrible things. That is the challenge. Because emotionally, we tend to blame and get excited about this these extremely Adamic people. Then he talks about Mitra, means another good person, but he is not, because the other person is known to me, and therefore, okay, is the other person, I wish the best for this person. Why? Because it's my friend. This person is really known to me, and then I have more sympathy, more love, more caring for this person. It's a family member or it's a friend. But if I don't know the person, I don't care. So all those small aspects of our human nature that somehow prevents us to be totally equanimous in reference to our neighbors. No, no, it's a good neighbor, it's a bad neighbor, you know. It's so common. Yeah. There is a lot of explanation of Sanskrit words here. I'm trying to skip them. The one who harms is the enemy. So the next type of person is Udashinaha, indifferent person. He does not like me or dislike me. We are neighbors. In the United States, we say it's a good neighbor. No, it's just a hi neighbor. You know, you just, when you step out of your house, the neighbors around you say hi, and that's it. So it's indifferent. So I have no attraction or repulsion towards my neighbor here. It's indifferent. It's called Udashinaha. I stay out. I don't get involved. If there is any problem, I don't go there neither to help, not to interfere, or not to accuse anybody. Indifferent. Objects of indifference, objects of likes, objects of dislike, and that is valid also for other human jivas, which are objectified by us, because since we know the body-mind complex is as well an object from other jivas standpoint. There was a passage there that was saying meditator, meditator, but I think it means mediator, isn't it, Lynn? Mediator. There was a misspelling there. And then I can be a mediator in some case. So a mediator is a nice a position to be in terms of helping people psychologically. Every time there is a complete conflict, it's very nice to be a mediator because you're not involved with one side, you are not involved with the other side, you have no bias there. So then you can be a mediator. But if you have any relationship with one of the parts, you cannot be a mediator. So you have to be really equanimous to be a mediator, meaning to say either you have this equanimity within your heart, or you should not be connected to neither one of those two persons. You should be absolutely equally indifferent to both persons. A lot of counseling work done with couples as well, especially, there are some good mediators, so to keep things in their place. The other aspect is the one who is hateful. A person whose behavior is such that it won't generate hatred in my mind. Such a behavior, the one who has got, the one provokes hatred, the one who generates hatred by his and her behaviors is called Diveshaha. There is another type of person, means parents, relatives, family members. And finally, the other kind of human beings that present here is sadhu. Sadhu means a noble person, not the sadhus in the streets of India. Someone who does great actions to others. Extremely dharmic person. Okay. Then Papeshu, the one who leads a life of adharma, so the violators of dharma, no? The adharmic people, they are very unrighteous persons. Adharmika Purusha. So some people they have this thing, huh? They definitely they are nasty, you know. They like to inflict some suffering and pain on others, you know. And so I don't know. I stay away from this kind of people, and I advise everybody to move away from this kind of people because it has an effect on whosoever is around them. If not directly, because the person is not trying to hurt you, but it's trying to hurt other people. And then some of us will feel compelled to be involved to try to help the people who are being affected by some abusers. No? It's not simple, it's complicated. And the Yanni is supposed to have a sama buddhi, equanimity in regards to all these different kinds of jiva, human jivas. Now, this can put some questions in our mind. How can I see all the people equally when one person is a criminal and the other person is a saint? How can I look at both of them equally? Does it mean that I should do namaskara to the criminal also? Therefore, what does it mean? The Samabudhi must be understood very well here. I have discussed this in the 5th chapter itself. I have explained, but being important theme, I would like to remind that, again, the Samathivan can be looked at from 2 different angles. One is the philosophical angle. Philosophical angle means Yanni looks at the true nature of everyone, which is Atma. Everyone has as one's true nature, Atma. So unless somebody is a cyborg, because there are cyborgs, as it seems already, moving around. And but if it is a true human being, it has itself, Atma. Consciousness is the true nature of every individual, even if someone is a criminal. All the difference appears in the personality or character. They belong to the body-mind complex. So, and then you see the body-mind complex and you see the difference, but then you see that inside there is a beautiful being under the spell of tremendous ignorance. So this vision is supposed to neutralize any reaction of repulsion or repulsion towards a person under the spell of great ignorance, okay? So just imagine people who commit crimes such as abusing of children, you understand? Or things that happen, you know, like genocides to different race, you know, and killing people, innocent people for no reason except some crazy ideas in the mind of some psychopaths. So you see all of this difference, and you see the Atma behind it. The body-mind complex is really evil, but the Atma is always pure, clean, unaffected by the body-mind sense complex. God or Atma is uniformly present in everyone, and therefore everyone is innately good, a good being, let's say a good being. Everyone is pure Atma, pure consciousness inside. But the body-mind complex, it accumulates lots of impurities due to avidya or ignorance. That's the natural process. Fundamentally, there is no criminal in the world. There is only ignorance playing through so much impurities that makes the body-mind superimposed on consciousness appear as an evil, a criminal body-mind. But deep inside, everybody is the self. Everybody is saintly, noble, you know. That is the true nature of everyone. And it's philosophically, it's so simple to understand that. Yeah? Everybody's consciousness, unless you are a cyborg, unless you are a robot, or a transhuman, or post-human. But every human being, organic, biological creature, now as created by God, is subject to avidya, much ignorance that makes people to become impure and do a lot of violation in the Dharma. So this impure, unsaintly nature is only the incidental impurities of the body-mind-sense complex. It's not the true nature of the person. Beautiful person is the nature of everybody. Beautiful Atma, a person is something else. So the whole process is purifying our personality. That's why self-knowledge should purify and improve our personality. And that's why I often say that self-knowledge is not the end, but it represents maybe the beginning of a process by which one further purifies to become more and more, dharmic or saintly, or whatever we can put in those terms, So these incidental impurities, incidental because they belong to the instrument of experience, not to the self, can be removed by self-knowledge and a lot of effort to further purify after self-knowledge. So therefore, philosophically, everybody is God, everybody is Brahman, even the worst possible criminal is as lovable as the Atma, the self, as Brahman. No? Lovable person is a stretch here because a person is the body-mind-sense complex, and the person sometimes is a hatred person. A hatred person does not know love and empathy, and it's very difficult that that person is going to receive love and empathy unless it is in contact with extremely purified yoni. And I can't help but remember Ramana Maharaj is one of the best examples of someone who was so pure. Shankaracharya, in his works, he gives an example of a sandalwood. Sandalwood is innately, that has a nice innately fragrance. It's the nature of its fragrance is very beautiful. But sometimes if the sandalwood gets wet, it develops a certain moss, and then that which was producing a wonderful perfume now has a bad smelling, bad bad perfume. So this bad perfume is going to cancel the innate beautiful fragrance of the sandalwood. So superficially, we look at the sandalwood, we say that it is smelling bad, and then we throw it away. I'm committing a mistake by doing so. Because all that I need to do was to clean up, rubbing a little bit the surface on which there was this moss formation. I removed the moss formation, and then I let it dry under the sun or some light or a light bulb. And then again, the fragrance is there intact, because that is the inner nature of the sandalwood. So it's a beautiful example, as like all Vedantic examples, because there is always help, there is always hope for the most ignorant person under the spell of avidya and doing horrible things, egoic things, and because all of that is happening on the surface, where the body mind sense complex. But the body mind sense complex is so deep, it's so profound, it goes through the three bodies, into the absolute unconscious mind of the individual. In that bad smell is sometimes almost impossible to be removed, at least within one single lifetime. But anyhow, philosophically, there should be always hope for everybody, because all of that is part of one superficial, incidental nature as the body, mind, sense complex. There are some examples here and there of themes who somehow are converted by the grace of God to become, saints, in the biblical scriptures. And it means that everybody, there is hope, there is salvation in the biblical language for everybody. Now, okay. Therefore, we all have got unhealthy behavior. So now we're talking not philosophically, but more practically. So I'm just saying, so unfortunately, we all have got unhealthy behavior, and they're caused by ignorance and error. Ignorance is also removable. Error is also removed. This is another very nice teaching about ignorance and error. Because of the superficial code of Anyana and Adhyasa, ignorance, we are now with this bad smell about ourselves, People avoiding me, people keep a distance from me. It seems I have a bad smell. And I am emanating this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all these things, Every criminal has got this kind of code, this bad, heavy energy. We know every profound violator of Dharma. The yan is supposed to be the one who has recognized its superficial, incidental nature. And therefore, his philosophy is simple. Everybody is fundamentally Brahman. This is the basic understanding. Nobody deserves hatred. And the creation, therefore, as far as the person is concerned, that person deserves what? Love. And upon that person, there is a temporary incrustation of bad smell. Bad smell means to say behavior such as crimes. As far as wrong action is concerned, even that does not deserve hatred. Action requires appropriate treatment. So, person requires love. Wrong behavior requires what? Appropriate treatment. Person also does not deserve hatred. Wrong action also does not deserve hatred. Person requires love. Wrong action requires appropriate treatment. What is the most appropriate treatment? Fundamentally, people who are hatred, usually they don't know what love is. And deep inside, they never received the love. They were born in an environment on which they were going to starve, were not going to get any love, and were going to suffer and become a hatred person. This is all karma. So fundamentally, everybody wants to be loved. But the human being, the body, mind, sense complex of a human jiva, it's something really complex to the extent that some people seem to be hopeless, helpless, beyond the possibility of being treated and getting help and being transformed. And that goes to the example in the battlefield in which Arjuna was being instructed to destroy Duryodhana and the entire army, which was threatening the structure of the Dharma. So the scriptures on the chapter 2 and 3 then touch this subject, saying, so you try to present the treatment. What is the treatment? The scriptures on Dharma. Oh, no, but Duryodhana said, no, I know everything about Dharma, but there is this force inside me that compels me only to violate the Dharma. And then let's try another strategy. So let's, you try and meditate, you do, no, none of that. I just want power at any cost. You understand? My life is about that. I don't want to know about anything. I don't want to know about Karma Yoga, Dhamma Yoga, Upasana Yoga. I just want power. I want to destroy everybody between myself and the power I want to accomplish. So what do you do with such a person? This person is not recoverable. You cannot save this person. So Krishna says to Arjuna, you must destroy when you have burned all your attempts to transform, or at least to find agreements from where he could slowly learn something and grow, such as give me a little piece of the rain of the, I will stay with my family there, and then without having to destroy me and my family. No, nothing. There is no solution. There is no, how you say, diplomatic solution, okay? So, and then war is required for what purpose? To protect the Dharma, the structure of the Dharma. So the question then is still on a philosophical level, is like, so how is Arjuna and the entire Arjuna's army going to deal with this war, in which at the same time Lord Krishna is saying that you need to be equanimous, Arjuna. Know that they are just suffering from incidental ignorance, but they need to be destroyed. Kill them all, but with a lot of love and grace in your heart, kill them with a loving heart, That's where the stretch between our human nature in an environment which is war, in which you have to have the adrenaline and the power to go and kill, and to be able to engage in a war with a loving heart, seems to be something more on the realm of philosophy. But anyhow, it's good to have an understanding such as this one for Arjuna. But the main purpose of the Gita is not to reestablish Dharma, but it is self-knowledge. And in the end, Arjuna did not need to fight any war, because the whole purpose was for Arjuna to understand and to be free. The appropriate treatment maybe the sama, dana, bed, all those different stages in the process of yoga, preparing, discipline, and regulation of everything. Even when you punish someone, you need to punish not with hatred. Punishment is painful treatment, just as the doctor's treatment is sometimes very painful. Oh, there are nothing more painful than those treatments that involves a lot of exercise, physical exercise. You know, I never met anybody who loves to do heavy, hard exercise. So, but sometimes treatments are unpleasant. Therefore, Ayani vision is what? Samativam. And what is Samativam? Everybody's the Atma, everybody's the self. And that does not mean that he will treat the criminal, and that does not mean that the person, the Yani will treat the criminal and the saint equally. When he faces the criminal, you remove the crime. Whatever is the step to be taken, even if it is to kill the criminal. It does not say that the Yani is going to allow extreme crimes and behaviors, indifferently, and especially ones depending on one's Swardharma, such as the one of Arjuna, as the general, to protect Dharma. It is imprisonment. That also he will recommend, but there is no iota of hatred. So you're gonna go to the war, you're going to try to bring them to the prison. But if they refuse to be taken to prison, and then you're going to kill them. But you have to kill them with no iota of hatred in your heart. And then he gives an extreme example that is so clarifying. He says, exactly like a mother treating a child appropriately. A mother has had many children. One of them is extremely Adamic, but the mother cannot help but to love the children more or less equally. No? So we know that we often hear that there is no more unconditional love than the one expressed by a good mother. No? So the mother knows I love my children equally, but this one here is really giving me much trouble. He requires several punishments, but I never punish them with much hatred in my heart, even though this is not always the case. Because I remember many times my mother being very, very angry with me and giving punishments out of hatred, But she loved me. Love, love, love. So this is Samatyavan from philosophical angle. Let's see if he's going to talk from the human angle. Then the Samatyavan can be understood from another angle as well. That is, Samatyavan is freedom from raga and dvesha. So from another angle is the Samatyavan is freedom from attraction and repulsion, neither attachment nor hatred. And why does not want attachment or hatred? Both attachment and hatred are forms of dependence. So he brings in another angle of conversation to that which is vairagya, detachment, non-attachment. And then he brings, he presents the attachments we develop, beginning from our desires, likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha. Yeah. So I want something and I want to avoid something. When I want something strongly and I want to avoid something strongly, I'm under the spell of attachment in any case, maybe desire or hatred. desire to have or desire to remove or destroy something, but that is a form of attachment. So as long as an object produces likes and dislikes in all of us, we're going to be attached to that. Attached as I love it, attached as I hate it. And as we have seen, the objects named other human beings, they are very complex and they are going to produce attraction and repulsion. And that is going to bind us to themselves. We are bound to that which we love too much, and we are bound to that which we are easily bound to that which we love too much, and we are easily bound to that which we hate, we dislike too much. Yeah? So the middle way, the detachment or the samatva equanimity is the key here. Both attachment and fear or hatred are forms of dependence. Dependence is going to make us feel discomfort. And instead of developing the understanding that allows equanimity, dependence is going to make me to get more of that, to see if I find enough security so that I don't feel dependent, but that does not work either. I'm dependent on the presence of something for my peace. So attachment is nothing but depending upon the presence of something. Attachment is nothing but dependence upon the presence of something. When I attach to object X, I want the object X to be around me because I somehow believe that that gives me security and pleasure. So what is hatred? Hatred is another form of dependence. I depend on what? Depend on the absence of that thing. Before I was dependent on the presence of that thing. Now I depend on the absence or the removal of that thing. When I say that I hate it, I don't like it, what do we expect? I want that thing or that person to get lost. I don't want that thing or that person to be back into my life. I want the absence of that person. Therefore, dependence on what? The absence of that person to be comfortable. I depend on that person to be away, to be comfortable. Oh, that person came back. Ooh, trouble came back. Now I'm not sleeping as well anymore. Why? I depend on the absence to keep away this kind of people or thing or events or circumstance. Attachment means I want the presence of what I like, or I want the absence of what I don't like to feel comfortable. And Yani is equanimous. He does not have both attachment and hatred. That means that he does not mind the presence of things also. And he does not mind the absence of things also. And therefore, he is a real highly purified Yani, I would say. Okay? He does not feel attached. What? Because he does not feel I depend on these things, people, circumstances, and events for my security and comfort. I'm okay. I'm comfortable on my own. And he's comfortable even in the absence of many things that most people, the Anyanis, feel that are very important in order to feel secure, safe, and comfortable. So the Yani has grown beyond those attachments. Okay, that is that's the other more accomplishable, goals. The sense of non-attachment, because you understood that my true nature is free, limitless, whole, full, and complete consciousness. Therefore, I don't depend on anything for my peace and satisfaction. This angle is more easy to be understood. The other one is more extreme, is more philosophical, because it talks in terms of being able to see through the bad, the ugly. And what is that expression? The bad, the beautiful, the bad, and the ugly, huh?
The good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So you see through all of that and you say, oh, it's all Brahman. That's big. Without any human reaction. This one is, you see some reaction, you see some difference there. You see it's all Brahman appearing like this and this and this. But, it's okay. But I don't depend on circumstance for my peace, because I'm satisfied already. I feel safe and secure because I understood my nature as limitless consciousness. And that's more or less what Ayani experience on different degrees, depending on the degree of certainty of self-knowledge, as well the degree of purification one has processed. Anything from you guys so far?
This is very topical for me because there's a man in the village here who dislikes me intensely, just because I do things differently than the way he does, basically. He dislikes most people, to be honest. And for a while, I tried to love this guy, but it became impossible. So then I tried to completely ignore this guy and not see him at all. And this is also very difficult. So now I'm trying this approach where it's like, okay, I have neither dislike nor like for you. I just accept the way you are. And, whatever you do to me, I accept it. And basically that's it.
But is he attacking you? He's attacking you in some way or conspiring against you?
Yeah, both. He attacks me verbally, and actually, he actually sprayed the edge of my land with herbicide as well, which I'm completely against. And he does it just to wind me up, to get a reaction from me.
Understood.
So when I don't react, it even makes him more angry. So, but I'm feeling that over time, the more I don't react, the more everything's okay. He's just finally he's going to get bored and go to somebody else to vent his aggression on.
Yeah,
but it's challenging.
Yeah, it's very challenging, this kind of conflicts. I had a much smaller one with my neighbor here who somehow I managed to stay very friendly to a certain degree during the first year, but slowly we start moving apart. And then in the end, he did not like what I was doing with my land, and he became very angry with me. And it's not easy. And I know what you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes we have to accept that life brings us some conflicts that are not resolvable.
I think it's really Ishvara is puts us in these challenging situations so we can grow.
Yeah, we can see that way so that we can push our limits, and become more, grow more and say, okay, Shwara, that's okay. So I heard these teachings about, people may love me, may hate me, may honor me, may dishonor me, may respect me, may disrespect me, and the test is life. So now I'm going to stand with peace in my heart regards all these opposite pairs, Yeah. That's why I tell you guys that I have given up on having human jivas as friends, and I have dogs, fish, chicken, things like that, to relate to. That's one of my favorite jokes. I repeat it too often. Okay, the verse number 10, remaining alone in solitude with a restrained mind and body, without any desire and without any possession, Jnani should constantly engage in nididhyasana, I would say, until that is no longer required. But this is the chapter on nididhyasana or upasana. Yeah? So what it means to be alone in solitude. It means, so if we need to go to move into Upasana, it's better we find a peaceful, quiet place. Nature is beautiful, but it's not for everyone, as you know. And some people cannot handle too much peace in nature. I had my share of experience when I was young. I went to a beautiful, wonderful place here in Brazil before I left Brazil altogether. And I stayed there for about a year and a half. But every time the tourist season would be over, I would feel lonely and depressed in a small village on a wonderful beach and a few people, you know, and I say, oh my God, what I'm doing here? I'm feeling depressed. So very soon I realized that I was living in a paradise, but my mind was so impure that I was not being able to enjoy that. You understand? So I had to give away that paradise and go back to Samsara, to Rio de Janeiro, and then I left Brazil. I went through great struggle, you know, through my entire life, a lot of stress, a lot of insecurity, but somehow it took me here. So, but at least to approach Upasana, it's important that we do it alone in a quiet place. Papaji used to say, don't begin meditating close to the fish market. The smell and the noise and the people walking around is going to disturb you. So therefore, to begin developing the art of meditation, it's better you find a beautiful, quiet place. And then Papaji used to play and say, once you have mastered your mind, and then you can, for a test, go and sit at the very entry of the marketplace and begin meditating there. And then you're going to be okay. But in the beginning, it's better to avoid. Okay, we're going to see more of this topic. And then he's going to explain more the specific instructions on how to meditate, technical, specific. Now we have been seeing the general sadhanas, you know. And then we're going to see more specific ways to sit in meditation, how to create the proper environment, and so on. We meet again next Monday on Mandukya Karika. And we talk now, Lynn, once we stop this class, this meeting. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Arlindo. Okay, see you on Monday.
See
Okay,
you.
bye, Lynn.
Yeah.